Chapter 21, Hitting the Motherlode. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Liam reached the cave entrance, winded. He hadn't seen this coming, his long hair whipped around him as he hurried inside, drenched in sweat and completely out of shape, but right now, all that mattered was the glittering treasure inside. Nerea was in the middle of a full-blown tantrum, roaring its head off, which meant no one was guarding the goods. Yes. Liam shouted, licking his lips. He was usually calm and collected, but the sight of those 3 or 4 remaining mounds of glittering treasure in the cave definitely got his blood pumping. He rushed forward, shoveling everything in sight into his inventory. He didn't want to risk anything disappearing, so he grabbed blindly, sorting later. Thankfully, the gold, silver, and copper coins automatically converted to currency, which didn't take up inventory slots. Otherwise, he would have run out of space long ago. Besides the coins, there were gems, skill books, recipe scrolls, ores, herbs, and all sorts of equipment. About 3/4 of his 500 inventory slots were full, making Liam probably the richest player in the entire game. He'd cleared the cave out in a matter of seconds, double-checking every nook and cranny to make sure nothing was left behind. Finally finished, Liam approached the farthest corner, Nerea's lair, the dragon's resting place. It looked mostly empty, just some straw and husk bedding where the beast slept, and a couple of bones, probably from its last meal. No treasure in sight. Liam hummed, turning to leave, but then paused. He looked back at the bedding, squinted, and squatted down. He ran his hand through the unassuming bedding, carefully dismantling it, tearing apart the thick heap. Jackpot. Liam grinned, spotting 3 objects hidden in the center. The dragon clearly didn't care about the other treasures, casually displaying them, but it had personally guarded these 3, hiding them under its body. That told Liam all he needed to know about their potential value. He wasted no time grabbing them, planning to inspect them later. He sat down and placed them on the ground, picking them up one by one. The first was a medium-sized, heavy, white oval. "Is this an egg?" Liam muttered, carefully placing it in his inventory. The second item was a violet shard, probably broken off a gem. He carefully added it to his inventory and picked up the third item, an old, rusted key. What the hell? Liam had no clue what it was, even on his second time playing this game. None of the players who had looted this cave before, or rather died trying, had ever mentioned these 3 items. He'd heard all about the mountains of gold, gems, recipe scrolls, and skill books, but never an egg, a shard, or a key. He wasn't sure if anyone had managed to completely clear out the cave like he had, but even if they did, and these items were valuable, only a fool would advertise it. So either no one had gotten to them, or whoever did was smart enough to keep quiet. Whatever. Liam ruffled his hair and tossed the key into his inventory. Without lingering, he stood up, dusted off his clothes, and headed back out. The treasure was nice, but it wasn't why he was playing the game. When the apocalypse finally hit, gold coins and real-world currency would be worthless. Only true strength and power would matter. As he quickly scrolled through the items in his inventory, Liam walked out of the cave. His eyes scanned the forest below, where Nerea was still kicking up a fuss and roaring loudly. He had no intention of joining that fight. It took a coordinated horde of at least 25 players to take down Nerea. The players below were just recklessly throwing their lives away. He knew they weren't going to beat the dragon that way, or at least not anytime soon. Liam knew better than to jump into a losing battle. Unlike the others who didn't sweat a few losses or deaths this early in the game, he knew the real cost of dying. Chapter 22, New Team. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Every time a player died in the game, their soul got weaker. Each death chipped away at their very being. This became clear a few weeks in, when someone actually died from exhaustion. By then, it was too late. Almost everyone's souls were corrupted in some way. Nobody had a soul that was whole and healthy. Liam wasn't looking to be a hero or savior, but he also wasn't heartless enough to keep this vital information to himself. I should probably post this on a forum tonight or something. Liam made a mental note and started to leave the mountain, heading towards his next destination. As he stepped out, he spotted a couple of familiar faces standing in front of the other cave, right next to the dragon's lair. Ooh! What a coincidence. We meet again. Ray hurried over to him, eager to chat. Aren't you going to fight the dragon? Liam shook his head and turned to leave. Wait. Wait a minute. Ray shouted and ran after him, seeing he was about to slip away again. We just found a dungeon here, the lair of the Ebon Raven. Our party got the discovery bonus, a big experience boost and increased drop rates. We're 2 people short. Wanna join us? Ray asked confidently, almost certain he'd get a yes. The team that runs a dungeon for the first time typically gets a 100% experience boost, which was significant, but not enough to tempt Liam on its own, but he didn't turn Ray down. He paused, then nodded in agreement. He had a reason. Liam suspected there might be clues in the dungeon. After all, it was right next to the cave where he'd found the 3 mysterious items. If it was just about the normal drops or the experience boost, he probably wouldn't bother. But he wasn't sure if his unique items would trigger any special drops, so Liam decided to run the dungeon at least once. He needed to level up anyway, and this wasn't a bad way to do it. Yes. Awesome. We won't hold you back, I swear. Ray was thrilled to see Liam nod. Alright. What's your party setup? Liam patted the excited young man and headed towards the dungeon. Ray grinned. Dude, like you, I'm playing no class. He gave a thumbs up and a wink, this idiot, Liam shook his head, smiling wryly. Add me to the party. He wanted to check their stats before starting. If they were too weak, there was no point in teaming up. He'd rather go in solo than carry dead weight, especially in a beginner's dungeon. He'd already tempered his body and was no longer level 1. He'd leveled up twice fighting the wolves and was now level 3, so, even a solo clear wasn't out of the question. Ray nodded and quickly invited Liam to the team. Ding. You have been invited to join a party. Ding. Do you accept? Yes/no, Liam clicked yes and silently inspected his new teammates. He wasn't expecting much, but he was pleasantly surprised by their stats. All 3 were actually level 4, a whole level higher than him and the players fighting Neria, and only Ray hadn't chosen a specific class. One of the girls was a paladin, and the other was a priestess, a healer. Both paladins and priests relied on holy power, mana infused with light, but paladins focused on protection and preventing damage, while priests focused on healing. Not bad. Not bad at all for a makeshift team, Liam muttered aloud. Ray didn't mind, but he looked nervously at his sisters before turning back to Liam. Dude, we're not really a makeshift team. We've played other games together. Okay. Waiting for anyone else, or should we start? Liam ignored the comment and got straight to the point. This time, the paladin answered. We'll be rolling for equipment and skill book drops fairly. Got it? Chapter 23, Body. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Alex tied her long red hair up in a tight bun, giving Liam the once-over. Every time she looked at him, she felt like she was being played. No real dude could look like that. She knew she was cute, with a slender figure and nice curves, but this guy was on a whole other level. He could be a top model pulling in 6 figures, easy, but besides his looks and maybe that special quest he got, there wasn't much else to him, not to mention the arrogant attitude he wore, like he was better than everyone else. Alex seriously doubted this guy deserved all the attention and the blatant ass-kissing Ray was doing. For all she knew, he was just a phony. So. Are you in or out? We'll roll for equipment and skill books fairly. She repeated, emphasizing each word. Liam chuckled. Why would he care about the drops from some newbie dungeon? Fine by me. I don't need any equipment. We can roll for skill books. But I have one condition. If there are any crafting materials or unique drops, I'm taking them. Alex narrowed her eyes, raising an eyebrow. Now she couldn't shake the feeling that there would be unique drops or some special quest items. Was this guy a beta tester? How did he know everything? Still, She shrugged and agreed. She didn't want to waste any more time talking out here because if they didn't clear the dungeon, someone else would swoop in and steal their thunder. With Alex's agreement, the group hurried inside, entering the cave. As soon as they stepped in, it was like they were transported to another world. They were standing in what looked like a windy forest, and the bright blue sky was now a creepy, ominous dark purple. "What the hell is this dungeon?" Ray asked, glancing around nervously. There weren't any monsters around, and the place was too eerie for just an empty forest. "Look up, not down," Liam said. Ray and the two women heard him and immediately looked up, spotting tiny red dots scattered in the dark purple, cloudy sky. When they looked closer, they gasped. The tiny red dots were eyes, and the dark purple clouds were flocks of birds swirling around endlessly. "Shit!" Ray swore, shocked. The two women looked uneasy as well. Liam, on the other hand, calmly smiled and sat down on the forest floor, opening his inventory. Just because the birds were there didn't mean they'd attack. Otherwise, they would have done it already. "All right. Give me 5 minutes, and I'll be good to go." Everyone was too distracted to care, so they just nodded. Liam chuckled. The game was pretty damn realistic, and there was a reason for that. He sighed and shook his head, finally checking out the stuff he'd swiped from the dragon's lair. Currency, gold, 5,000, silver, 5,000, copper, 5,000. Not bad. Liam clicked his tongue. Then, he looked at the first skill book. Demonic Summon, consumes 200 mana to summon a lesser demon. Spell active for 20 seconds. Level 1. TCH. What an expensive summoning spell. Liam quickly learned the skill. There was no limit to the number of skills you could learn, but leveling them up and making sure they were actually useful was a different story. You could learn 100 skills, but it was impossible to focus on them all, level them all up, and, most importantly, master them. But this skill was worth the time and effort because Liam knew that when leveled up, it would allow the player to form a permanent contract with a demon. Of course, there was another prerequisite. Only people with an extremely high demonic affinity could achieve this. Liam didn't have an SSS grade affinity, which was technically the highest, but she still had an S grade affinity, which was good enough. So he didn't hesitate and quickly learned the skill. Alex stood beside him, curiously watching Liam and wondering what he was doing. "Hey, Hofstadter. What's he up to? Did he just learn a skill?" she muttered. Liam ignored them and was about to open the next item when he suddenly stopped. "Hofstadter." He quickly scanned the name of the third member of the party, the priestess he hadn't interacted with much. Ray Thornwood, Alex Thornwood, Mia Hofstadter. He hadn't paid attention to their names earlier, and now that he did, Liam was floored. Was this fate? Or just a coincidence? Liam cursed himself for not noticing sooner. In his hurry, he almost passed up a godsend. Mia Hofstadter. In his previous life, she was a big-name player. She was consistently one of the top healers on the leaderboard. Not to mention her top-notch skills as a battle priest when she wasn't healing. Plus, she was gorgeous, with a killer figure, honey blonde hair, and bright blue eyes. She also had a calm, collected, and cold temperament, like a sheathed sword, which didn't exactly fit the image of a kind and benevolent priestess. And yet she was adored by countless fans and revered as a goddess. However, all of that was when the world still had a semblance of normalcy. After things went to hell, her name disappeared. She wasn't even registered with the association. Liam's mind raced through everything he'd heard about Mia, pausing on the one thing he cared about. This woman had a purine body. Chapter 24, Dungeon Run. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Not everyone is created equal. Even on a backwater planet like Earth, some people are just born with a leg up. Liam wasn't one of those people. In his previous life, he'd envied those individuals who effortlessly rose to the top while everyone else struggled. The body is the vessel that absorbs, stores, and channels energy and magic. So, if you've got a head start in that department, progress comes easy. This time around, Liam wasn't about to underestimate such a crucial advantage, especially when it was practically knocking on his door. Do you have some kind of divine affinity? Liam asked Mia, cutting right to the chase. SSS grade, maybe, that the girl was taken aback. Her mouth slightly agape, she stammered, what? How did you know? Alex and Ray exchanged shocked glances, looking at Liam with questioning eyes. Liam smiled. He didn't need an answer. Their reactions confirmed his suspicions. Haha, it's nothing, he chuckled, raising his hands. I was just curious why you'd pick a class like priest. See, I told you we were a strong team, Ray grinned. He seemed to buy Liam's explanation, but the two women narrowed their eyes, regarding him suspiciously. Alright, I'm almost done. Liam didn't push the issue. Convincing them to give him what he wanted right now was a lost cause. He grabbed another skill book, the basic necromancer skill, and quickly learned it. That should be enough for this dungeon. He closed his inventory and stood up, drawing one of the swords he'd taken from Neria's lair, sizzling iron sword. Weapon type, one-handed sword. Durability, 20/40. Attack damage, 15/20. Agility, 5. Let's go. The first mob should be just ahead. Ignore the flying ones, they won't attack us. Liam explained. The group moved forward, with Liam and Alex in the lead and Ray and Mia bringing up the rear. Mia couldn't help but steal glances at the lean, muscular man in front of her. Why did he ask me that? She wondered. Moments later, the first beasts appeared, a pack of wandering wolves standing in their path. Before anyone could speak, Liam dashed forward, taking control. Tank, take the two on the left. I'll handle the two on the right. Ray, support the tank. Healer, keep an eye out for sudden damage. Alex frowned, wondering who appointed this guy leader, but she decided to play along and see what he was really made of. She used her basic paladin skill, block, and thrust her shield forward. The two wolves snarled and attacked, but their claws and teeth were deflected by the shield. She skillfully parried their attacks, anticipating their every move. Wolves were pretty basic, so Alex managed to find an opening and swung her sword. Ray supported her with arrows from behind, and together they quickly dispatched the wolves in under a minute. Woo! Alex cheered as the experience points poured in. She turned to see how Liam was doing, but another surge of experience points hit her. He took out his two wolves in the same time it took us to kill ours. She was flabbergasted. She wanted to check the damage numbers in the system interface, but Liam's voice boomed again. Grab the wolf meat and pile it on top of that big rock, he muttered, casually picking up a few dropped copper coins. Alex's eyes widened. What a freeloader. But the others didn't seem to mind and quickly did as they were told, butchering the animals and preparing a heap of fresh meat. Since neither of the women wanted to touch the hyper-realistic chopped-up meat and Liam had already walked over to the rock, Ray volunteered and sloppily carried the pile of meat to the rock. Now what? Alex asked, crossing her arms. Liam didn't answer, but soon the distant sound of flapping wings filled the air. Now it begins. He smiled. Chapter 25, Unexpected Changes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Got any potions handy, guys? Keep 'em ready. Liam barely finished when the trees in the distance started shaking, leaves rustling. 5 black ravens with big red eyes shot towards them like bullets. Tank. Heads up. You take 2, I'll handle the other 3. Ray, same deal as before, support the tank first, then come help me. Healer, stay sharp. Alex was fuming. What was this guy's problem? Did they not have names? Only Ray got a name. She activated her skill, Deafening Roar, drawing the attention of all 5 ravens, but Liam quickly slashed at 3 of them. His damage output was twice hers, so he immediately pulled the 3 away, giving her a stern look. Follow my instructions. The birds were quicker than the wolves, attacking with their beaks and claws, pecking furiously. Liam nimbly dodged their attacks, his body keeping up. Every move was precise. Beside him, Alex blocked and parried. Soon, the first wave of birds went down, almost simultaneously, a series of notifications chimed, awarding experience points. Alex turned to Liam, pointing her shield at him. You got something against women? Huh? Look out. 3 more waves coming. Liam warned. Almost immediately, the trees rustled again. This time, a flock of 10 birds descended. Alex no longer had time to be mad at Liam. Deafening roar, she shouted again, drawing the ravens. Tank, can you handle 5? Liam shouted, slashing at the birds in the back. Heavy damage numbers floated, and feathers flew everywhere. Even Liam took a few hits, bloody gashes appearing on his body, but as his health dropped, nourishing energy enveloped him, quickly healing him. Mia's timing was perfect, anticipating the damage and supporting the team. Liam nodded in approval. This woman was a top-tier battle priest. A natural, his own movements were fluid and confident, but he had swung his sword 1,000,000 times to get here. It was drilled into his bones. She was simply born with a gift. The world wasn't fair. The ravens had no special attacks, so Liam took them down in seconds with basic sword moves. Alex and Ray, on the other hand, were barely holding on. Alex gritted her teeth as Liam racked up experience points. This showed the difference in skill, leaving nothing to the imagination. While they struggled, Liam was already done and rushed in to help. He could have gotten there faster, but he didn't want to use his new skills yet. Ding. 10 experience points gained. Ding. 10 bonus experience points gained. Ding. 10 experience points gained. Ding. 10 bonus experience points gained. This time, a raven dropped a skill book, which Liam picked up. What is it, bro? Ray asked, excited. But to his disappointment, it was just a holy heal spellbook. You have this skill? Liam asked Mia. She nodded silently. He tossed the book to Alex. You should learn it too. Why would a paladin need a heal skill? Alex frowned, still sulking about his strength and skill. Your call. Liam didn't respond, wiping blood off his sword, preparing for the next attack. He took a violet fruit from his inventory and munched on it. Another wave coming. Recover mana and stamina. Alex gripped her shield, wanting to smack him upside the head. What a jerk. 10 this time, Liam shouted as the trees rustled and another group of ravens flew towards them. 5 each, same as last time. He swung his sword, ready to jump into battle, but froze. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. Something unexpected. Instead of 10 birds, 20 black ravens shot towards them like sharp arrows. Liam's eyes widened. This had to do with the artifacts from the dragon's lair. He snapped out of it and shouted again. More than 10. Watch out. Yeah, I can see that, genius. Alex snapped, but he was too busy to listen. Awaken, Liam muttered, finally using another skill. Black mist swirled around the raven corpses, broken skeletons slowly coming together, fusing like invisible glue. Some even had flesh and feathers stuck to them, making it gory and disgusting. Not to mention the smell. What the hell? Alex stepped back, nauseous. Even Mia looked disgusted. Only Ray watched, dazed, full of admiration. Bro. That's awesome. You got the undead skill. Nice. This is freaking amazing. He gave Liam a thumbs up. Everything happened fast. From the mess of corpses, 3 raven skeletons rose from the ground, flapping their rotten, bony wings. Chapter 26, God of Death. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Squawk. 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 Squawk, the raven screeched, a deafening cacophony. Another decibel or two and the team would have been clutching their ears instead of fighting for their lives. Alex immediately unleashed her deafening roar, and used her block, but the birds were too numerous, their beaks relentless. The group's health was plummeting too fast for Mia to keep up. She frantically cast heals, pushing herself to the limit to maintain perfect timing. Liam sighed, took one look at the chaos, and yelled, "Get down!" That they were barely halfway through, and he didn't want a total wipeout. Everyone trusted his judgment and immediately leaped off the mound without question. Only then did they realize the ravens hadn't followed, now circling exclusively around Liam. "Healer, stay sharp." Liam added he didn't need to spell things out for Mia, he trusted her abilities. Besides, he didn't have time. Standing alone atop the bloody mound, Liam twisted and spun, his agility surpassing even the ravens. His 3 summoned undead were also fighting back, tearing chunks of flesh from the squawking birds, but it was clear he was at his breaking point. He wouldn't last much longer, but surviving this long alone was a feat in itself. Everyone was dumbstruck, watching Liam in a daze, forgetting they could rejoin the fight. They were mesmerized by his every contortion as he dodged the birds and slashed at them with his sword. "Beautiful," Alex muttered, almost unconsciously. Mia was equally captivated, her eyes glued to Liam's movements. Ray, on the other hand, looked as if he'd seen a ghost. With each passing second, Liam's movements became sharper, his seemingly random actions coalescing into a beautiful, deadly dance. They all gulped, watching in awe as sword slices rippled outward, flesh and feathers flying everywhere, and then, the entire flock of birds dropped dead. Ding! 10 experience points gained, ding. 10 bonus experience points gained, ding. 10 experience points gained, ding. 10 bonus experience points gained. Experience points rained down as the entire flock was wiped out by a single player, ding. A new skill, Sword Dance, has been created due to your actions, Sword Dance. Each slash of the sword deals 200% damage, a critical hit attack deals 250% damage, cooldown, 3 minutes. Liam smiled, exhilarated after executing the familiar moves perfectly. He hadn't wanted to reveal it so soon, fearing questions, but he'd had no choice. So he went for it. Awaken, Liam muttered again, and 5 bony undead ravens slowly rose from the pile of corpses. He was already preparing for the next fight. Unlike him, the others were frozen. Even Alex was speechless, inwardly embarrassed by her earlier comparison of their skills. He was aged wine, she was cheap beer. Liam turned and saw the worshipful looks in their eyes. He chuckled to himself, and used to such admiration, he ruffled his hair and muttered as he returned to looting the corpses, "Stop daydreaming and get back up here. The next group will be here soon." The haul was pretty good this time, including 2 skill books and a crossbow with decent stats. "Check this out." Liam tossed the crossbow to Ray. "Hey, how do you know all this?" Alex asked, ignoring the equipment. She climbed back onto the mound, her gaze locked on Liam. "I don't. I'm just guessing," he said as he continued to pocket the copper and silver coins. Technically, he wasn't lying. His last guess had been way off, but Alex wasn't about to let it go. "That sword move, was that a skill book skill, too?" She pressed. There was no way one person could have found so many skill books this early in the game. She glared at him like he'd stolen her lunch money. Liam shook his head, pausing to actually answer her this time. "I'll explain later. The next mob should be here soon." He turned away, cutting off further questions. "You." Alex clenched her fists and glared. 5 undead ravens circled Liam, adding to the powerful aura he emitted. He looked like the Grim Reaper himself. Alex gulped and pursed her lips, angrily kicking a few corpses as if searching for more loot. Ray was busy checking out the crossbow, and Mia was also searching corpses for drops, but like Alex, her gaze kept drifting back to Liam, watching him in a daze. Chapter 27, Secret Mode. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Liam stared into the distance, the sound of flapping growing louder than before. Were there even more birds? Ebon Raven was supposed to be a beginner's dungeon. It shouldn't be this hard. There weren't even difficulty settings, just a straight shot run with no tricks. The dungeon should have had 10 birds in the previous wave and 10 more in this one, with some having the ability to stun players. This was also the last wave before the final boss, a giant raven. The boss looked like the other ravens, only much bigger and with a third eye. It was also exceptionally agile and good at stunning players, keeping everyone on their toes. That was the gist of the Beginner's dungeon, but Liam had a feeling things wouldn't go that way. Was it because of the items he'd taken from the dragon's lair? Or maybe they were the first team to run the dungeon, he wasn't sure, but that was his best guess. Either way, this might be his only shot. Liam didn't want to take any chances, so he decided to use his other skill. He closed his eyes and muttered, "Demonic summon." His mana instantly drained, and thick black fumes materialized in front of him. These fumes were similar to the aura of the 5 undead ravens, but different. Alex and Mia both felt their skin tingle from the demonic energy swirling around them. "What the hell? You have another skill?" Alex exclaimed. "You've got a lot of skills," Mia said calmly, though she looked puzzled. "Bro, is there a skill store I don't know about?" Ray asked, chuckling awkwardly. He didn't want to make Liam uncomfortable, but he had to ask. While they stared, Liam focused on the black blob in front of him. It usually took a few seconds for the demon to fully materialize, so he watched it closely. Just as the last wave of birds flew toward them, a small red ball appeared. Suddenly, 2 holes formed on it, one turning into an evil eye and the other into a row of teeth. "Gah!" The weird sound snapped Liam into action. An unevolved beholder. Not bad. He grinned. These were powerful lesser demons, capable of dealing different types of damage. It could be a one-shot death ray or a harmless slowing ray. Liam would find out its capabilities soon enough, and the time was now. 30+ birds were shooting toward them like black arrows with red eyes. "Healer, watch out for stuns. Keep moving, and it'll be harder for them to hit you," Liam said, gripping his sword. The beholder demon and the undead ravens buzzed around, eager to fight. When the ravens descended, they jumped into action. Each undead managed to draw the attention of at least 2 ravens, and the beholder demon took on 5 by itself. That covered half the wave, making the rest easier to handle. Alex skillfully bashed her shield against the birds, while Ray slashed at them with a dagger. Mia was the busiest, as all 3 were fighting close range and taking a lot of damage, but thanks to Liam's warning, no one got stunned, and they managed to hold on. The first bird dropped dead, boosting everyone's morale. The demon paralyzed a bird with a black ray from its eye. The bird fell lifeless after getting caught in Liam's sword slashes. One by one, more birds dropped dead. The group's coordination was much better this time. Alex and Ray even leveled up, giving them instant health refills that made the fight even easier. Before long, the flock of birds was completely wiped out, and corpses piled up. Chapter 28, Eye of the Tornado. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Huff. 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 Alex and Ray were wiped. They plopped down on the bloody mound to catch their breath. This last mob had taken everything out of them. They felt completely drained. No matter how realistic games got, they'd never experienced anything like this before. It felt like they'd been in a real fight, not just a mental projection. "Dude. Ayo. Please tell me that was the last mob," Ray panted, spraying bits of fruit as he talked and munched. "Should be," Liam muttered absently, but his tone lacked conviction. "Next up is a monstrous raven that spams stuns. It likes to paralyze the healer and take them out first. So, Mia, watch your back." Liam did his best to explain, chugging a potion to restore his mana. The ravens he'd resurrected for the last round were useless, so he cast Awaken again. This time, 10 raven ghouls flapped their wings and rose from the pile of bones and flesh scattered like garbage. Why's the boss taking so long?" Ray asked, looking up. Liam instinctively followed his gaze, and his eyes widened. "Get down. Now!" Liam yelled. "Get down and get out of the dungeon. Now!" Everyone exchanged confused glances and looked up, trying to figure out what was so terrifying. At first, they saw nothing, but gradually the small movements became clearer. The insane number of birds swirling in the sky was definitely up to something. Liam had assured them the birds wouldn't move or attack, but that was clearly not the case anymore. The rest of the sky started to clear, but the sky directly above the mound grew darker and darker. The others were clueless, but Liam had a good idea of what was coming. "Move it. Now!" He shouted again. No one needed to be told twice. Alex, Ray, and Mia scrambled to their feet and jumped off the mound, but Liam was still standing there, making no move to follow them. Before anyone could react, the ravens formed a tornado and began to descend. Hundreds of ravens dove from the sky. Alex stumbled, staring up in disbelief. Ray's face was etched with shock and fear. Mia stood frozen, mouth agape. "Get down. Get down now," she stammered, looking at Liam. "You. Why are you being so stubborn?" Alex was speechless. "Dude, it's not worth it. Jump down. We'll come back with a full party and be better prepped." Ray said through gritted teeth. He had no idea what kind of prep could help against this, but he just wanted them all out safe. Death wasn't a big deal, just a level lost or two, but being pecked to death in a super realistic game. No one wanted that. Liam hadn't heard a word Ray said. He just shouted again, "Leave." Now, he was warning them so many times because they were facing this anomaly because of him. They might not know it, but he knew the cost of dying, and he didn't want to be responsible for it, but he couldn't bring himself to move. It was clear to him now that this was quest-related. If he left the dungeon, he might never get another shot at this hidden quest and this unexpected twist. Normally, missing an opportunity wouldn't be a big deal, but Liam wasn't willing to lose even a single opportunity this time. What was the point of his second chance if he did? If he failed, he'd have no one to blame but himself. He had to make this count, otherwise, the consequences, he'd rather die than go back to that life. No. I can't give up now. I have to fight. Right here, right now. I can't lose everything again. I won't. I can't falter over this. I have to fight through it, no matter the cost. He turned to look at the others and roared one last time. "Did you not hear me? Get the fuck out now." Mia, Alex, and Ray heard his thunderous voice, and something made them obey. The pressure and ominous aura coming from the deadly swirl of ravens was overwhelming. They snapped out of their trance and ran from the dungeon at full speed, doing exactly as Liam said. Ding. Alex Thornwood has left the dungeon. Ding. Alex Thornwood has left the party. Ding. Mia Hofstadter has left the dungeon. Ding. Mia Hofstadter has left the party. Ding. Ray Thornwood has left the dungeon. Ding. Ray Thornwood has left the party. Notifications flooded his screen as the others bailed, automatically disbanding the party. Liam was alone. He looked up at the tornado of ravens above him, and the birds began their descent. Chapter 29, Sometimes a Hero Runs. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Shit. What the hell am I supposed to do? Liam had sent everyone else out, but now he was drawing a blank. It wasn't like he was some overpowered, reborn character with maxed out stats. Nope, he was just a reborn character with regular stats, so he was no closer to figuring out this insane situation than he was 2 seconds ago, and he was running out of time. He'd be pecked to death in about 5 more seconds. He gritted his teeth, watching the ominous black ravens with crimson eyes descend from the sky, one after the other. The massive swirling tornado of birds was about to swallow him whole. Liam glanced around, realizing there was only one thing he could do. Damn it. No choice. Gotta run first, figure things out later. He waited for the ravens to get close, and then, before the first bird could touch him, he bolted. His feet barely touched the ground before he shot off the mound with explosive speed. Squawk. 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 The ravens screeched with murderous intent and unexpectedly gave chase. Knew it, Liam grinned. There was no way anyone could defeat that many ravens while stuck on that mound with nowhere to hide, so he figured that no matter where he was in the dungeon, he'd still have their attention. Of course, it was a huge risk. If he was wrong, he'd lose everything, including this special scenario and the bonus loot dropping from the dungeon, but it was better to take the risk and lose than to simply die or quit. Liam kept his breathing steady and ran down from the mound as fast as he could, not really heading in any specific direction, just randomly running from one end of the forest to the other. The sight of a lone guy being chased by a whole swarm of ravens was comical, absurd even, but that's exactly what was happening. Okay. Think. Think. Got about 3 minutes. How can I deal with this? Liam racked his brain. Damn, not enough time to think. If anyone else heard him, they would have coughed up blood. The speed he was running at was at least 5 times what players at his level were capable of, and Liam wasn't even using any special skills. There were tons of mysterious movement skills, and he even knew one of the bad ones and the location of some good ones, but he couldn't use any of them at his current level. All he could do was run as fast as he could, and of course, Liam was adding a little something extra to that. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to outrun the ravens while conserving as much energy as possible. He circulated the mana flowing freely through his body, and taking a deep breath, pushed it all to his feet. Bang! Dust and wind swirled where his feet touched the ground, and he sprang forward, running all over the forest. Damn it, Liam cursed. There wasn't a single thing in the wide-open forest that could help him. Just scattered trees. No, there has to be a way. He gritted his teeth and kept running, dragging the flock of ravens behind him, zigzagging all over the place. They had covered almost the entire forest when Liam suddenly stopped, a few birds almost catching up. He ignored their attacks and ran straight toward 2 big trees. There was nothing special about them except that they were thick, sturdy, and tall, with thick brambles covering their lower trunks. Liam grinned and sprinted toward the trees, jumping right between them. Come get some. He shouted, adrenaline pumping. The ravens were only a problem when they could all attack at once, but now, they could only get to him 4 or 5 at a time, and that was a number he could handle. Liam grinned wildly, a devilish look on his face, and swung his sword casually to his left and right. Slash! 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 Blood spurted everywhere. Chunks of flesh and feathers scattered around, and finally, the black ravens started dropping dead, one after the other. Chapter 30, I have been waiting for you. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Having finally slowed down the insane flock of birds chasing him, Liam felt a rush of exhilaration. He didn't rush his next move, though. He took his time, picking off the birds 1 or 2 at a time. As he fought, he replenished his almost depleted mana and stamina. Trapped by the giant trees, the birds couldn't do much, forced to attack only as fast as he allowed. Some tried to swoop down from above, but the dense leaves and branches made it impossible to get a good shot. Leaves and twigs could only hold out for so long, though. He barely had enough time to get the upper hand. Liam steadily increased his rhythmic speed, his sword dancing faster and faster with each move. Stripped of their numerical advantage, the black ravens were easily overpowered and slaughtered. With each bird that fell, the experience points poured in. Now that he was the only one in the party, it was like soloing the dungeon. He reaped all the benefits, along with the first discovery bonus boosts. Ding. 30 experience points gained. Ding. 30 bonus experience points gained. Ding. 30 experience points gained. Ding. 30 bonus experience points gained. Ding. 30 experience points gained. Ding. 30 bonus experience points gained. Ding. 30 experience points gained. Ding. 30 bonus experience points gained. Ding. You have leveled up. Ding. 30 experience points gained. Ding. 30 bonus experience points gained. Ding. 30 experience points gained. Ding. 30 bonus experience points gained. As the experience points kept piling up, Liam chipped away at the giant tornado of birds that had formed above the 2 trees. It only took him a few minutes to reduce the endless swarm to a few dozen. He was drenched in sweat, his muscles screaming with exhaustion. Still, he pushed on, testing his limits. Luckily, he was using the sword he'd found in Neria's lair. Otherwise, his weapon would have shattered long ago. Even this one was starting to fail. The durability was dropping fast, and the trees were almost completely destroyed. By the time Liam finished off the last few birds, his blood-soaked sword cracked in 2, and the giant trees he was wedged between also cracked and split apart. Aw! Liam clenched his fist and howled, jumping out of the wreckage and collapsing on a patch of green grass, unsure of what would happen next. He calmly pulled a fruit from his inventory and munched on it. The sky above was now clear and blue, no longer dark and ominous. Liam looked up, popping another fruit into his mouth. Did I really just wipe out an entire mob? Ha ha ha. His laughter echoed through the silent forest, mixing with the wind and rustling leaves. A few minutes passed, and nothing happened. No more mobs, beasts, or birds appeared. All right. What's next? Liam jumped to his feet and looked around. This part of the dungeon was new to him, so he had no idea what to expect. Guess I should explore. Liam frowned and walked back to the mound where most of the fighting had taken place. He didn't have to wait long. Even from a distance, he could see that the mound was no longer empty. A giant black raven with 3 heads and multiple crimson eyes was perched on top. This has got to be the final boss monster and the dungeon clear condition. Liam quickly pulled out a sword and loosened his shoulders, preparing to give it his all. He dashed toward the mound, slashing his sword at the raven, but the bird remained calm. His sword slash stopped in midair and vanished. What the hell? You're not attacking. Liam almost tripped as he tried to stop, and the raven casually opened its huge beak and muttered. Human. I have been waiting for you.